But can you steal £1,000,000? If only. Can you tell me how much rat poison it takes to kill a mother-in-law? Can you... I'm not reading that out loud. Huh. Can you show us your best explores? Can you show us your best explores? Let's find out. So, welcome back to another video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have a suggestion for a can you, please send it via private message. In the few years as urban explorers, we were privileged enough to explore a wide range of different abandoned spaces, from asylums to mansions, Cold War bunkers to cinemas. Enough to justify our tagline of State of Decay, anyway. So I tried my hardest to put together a top 10, but truth be told, it was hard enough to narrow it down to 15. So here we go anyway, my top 15 explores. So at number 15 we have the former Forensic Science Service Laboratory in Huntingdon. Now this facility played a key role in some of the UK's most notorious cases, including the Ipswich Ripper, the White House Farm murders and the prosecution of Ian Huntley, the chilling child killer. We explored it at night a few years after its closure in 2012. The offices, labs and specialist rooms were frozen in time, meticulously scrubbed down. Under the artificial glow of our torchlight, it felt like stepping into a science fiction world, a chrysalis of criminal psychology. Number 14, the Barron Hill Mansion, Anglesey. Built in 1618 as the grand family seat of the powerful Buckley family, Barron Hill was meant to be a symbol of their status, but it was sadly never finished. Commandeered during the war, it suffered many fires and eventually was abandoned and left to rot. As we wandered the overgrown grounds, we could see its once opulent splendour slowly being reclaimed by nature. Crumbling walls intertwined with ivy, branches growing through window frames. Whatever was once planned for Barron Hill slipped quietly away, absorbed into rich layers of vibrant green. Number 13, Loxley Chapel, Sheffield. Originally built in 1787 as a congregational chapel, Loxley served its community for over 2 centuries, accommodating more than 1,000 at its peak. It closed in 1993, and we were fortunate to visit before a severe fire gutted the building in 2016. The chapel's grand organ dominated the main wall, a relic of its musical past. In cupboards upstairs we discovered early religious memorabilia. Now, this little chapel was a perfect explore, a time capsule frozen in the echoes of worship. Number 12, Folkingham Airfield, Lincolnshire. Built during the Second World War, Folkingham served first as a decoy and then as a full Class A airfield, later used by US troop carriers preparing for D-Day. During the Cold War, it also became a Thor missile base before finally closing in 1963. Today, sections of the runway provide a resting place for countless disused vehicles. Under blue skies, we were overwhelmed by the sheer number of rusting relics. Old trucks and weathered wooden cranes, each one telling a story rich with character. Number 11, Robert Fletcher's Paper Mill, Oldham. Fletcher's Mill was once the leading UK paper manufacturer, but suddenly shut overnight in 2001. Leaving machinery, lockers and relics frozen in time. The mill was established in the 1920s, specialising in cigarette paper and fine tissues. At its peak, it employed hundreds of workers and dominated the industrial landscape of Greenfield. As we wandered the vast factory floor, we could imagine the vats brimming with pulp and the machines humming with life. Rolls of smooth paper still sat on the racks, as if the mill itself were clinging on, waiting to be used once more. Number 10. Ironbridge Cooling Towers, Shropshire. Built in the 1950s, these iconic cooling towers were part of the Ironbridge Power Station. In a region steeped in industrial heritage, their unique sandstone-coloured concrete complemented the surrounding valley. After decades of service, changing energy needs and plant closures led to their decline, and in 2019 the towers were eventually demolished, marking the end of one of the area's most recognisable industrial silhouettes. Before their demise, we were able to explore inside one of them. The contrast of green and purple hues turned the vast giant into a spectacle of decaying art. The old-fashioned door even reminded us of a coffin. Rest in peace, towers. Rest in peace. Number 9. Lostock Power Station, Northwich. Lostock Power Station was built in the 1960s as a large coal-fired plant, supplying electricity to the northwest of England. A major industrial hub, its towering chimneys and sprawling infrastructure rose up like a mechanical fortress against the skyline. As the UK's energy mix shifted and coal generation declined, it closed in 1993, leaving behind a sprawling, silent structure, a monolith frozen in time. As we passed through its huge turbine halls, rusting walkways and silent control rooms, we were offered a rare glimpse into a bygone era of industrial engineering. Every level, lever and gauge whispered the story of a lost, forgotten time. Number 8. ROYDS Asylum, North Yorkshire. Originally opened in 1888 as the West Riding Pauper Lunatic Asylum, ROYDS was one of England's most imposing Victorian psychiatric hospitals. Set on a vast 300-acre estate of stone Gothic buildings, it was designed as an almost self-contained village, complete with its own library, surgery, bakery, workshops, and even a private railway collection. For over a century, it housed thousands of patients until it finally closed in 2003. Today, the complex has been redeveloped into housing, but we were fortunate enough to visit its epic ballroom and the notorious clock tower. As we stepped through the defunct rooms and passed through heavy iron gates, the eerie presence of the old asylum remained present. Number 7. George Barnsley and Sons, Sheffield. Established in the 19th century, George Barnsley and Sons was a renowned scissor and blade manufacturer based in Sheffield, a city long famous as the heart of Britain's steel and cutlery industry. The Barnsley works produced high-quality scissors, shears and hand tools that were sold all around the world, prized for their craftsmanship. While traversing the multi-levelled wooden structure, our senses were on high alert, careful not to slip through some of the many holes in the floor. Tools and tacks were scattered across benches and shelves, and ledges were left open on empty workspaces. It seemed as if one day everyone had simply walked away, leaving this once busy workplace into a withering state of decay. Number 6. TUXEDO ROYALE, Middlesbrough. Originally beginning its life as a passenger ferry, in the 1980s the TUXEDO ROYALE was transformed into a floating casino and moored on the River Tees. Spread across multiple decks, the ship featured dedicated gaming floors with roulette, blackjack and poker tables, lavish cocktail bars finished in polished brass, mirrored walls and plush seating. The crown jewel of the Royale was its rotating dance floor, glittering under bright neon lights. By the time we explored her, the glamour may have faded. She was stripped for her lead and half sunken in the ribbon. Yet, as we moved through her rooms, we could still catch glimmers of her former splendour, a shiny disco ball, a cash register full of drinks tokens, and a kitchen stacked with glassware. We imagined the echoes of laughter across the dance floor, and the sweeping spaces that once hosted music and bright lights. Number 5. The Town Hall, Sheffield Courthouse. Built in 1808 to replace the city's first town hall, this Grade 2 listed building served as Sheffield's civic centre and courthouse for nearly 2 centuries. Over the years it was extended and remodelled, hosting Crown and High Court hearings, magistrates' chambers, and even underground passages linking it to the neighbouring police offices. For almost 200 years, its courtrooms saw serious cases from historic murders to violent crime, with some of the transcripts still on show today. Exploring the cells and courtroom galleries, the smell of decaying oak hung thick in the air. It was an explore like no other, a journey through the dark shadows of Sheffield's criminal past. Number 4. Camelot, Lancashire. Camelot, the medieval-themed amusement park in Lancashire, opened in 1983 and drew families with Arthurian-inspired attractions across its 140-acre site. For nearly 3 decades it welcomed visitors with white-knuckled rides alongside costume shows and themed entertainment that brought alive the legend of King Arthur. Following a decline in visitors, the park closed permanently after the 2012 season, leaving rides and attractions abandoned and slowly reclaimed by nature. When we visited, we were lucky to have the whole place to ourselves, exploring the remains of its ghost houses, roller coasters, and hospitality blocks. For a place that was once packed with visitors, the silence was almost surreal, a gentle calm hanging on the breeze. Number 3. Middleton Mines, Derbyshire. The Middleton Mines are one of the largest underground limestone workings in the UK, with around 28 miles of tunnels spread over 3 levels. At its peak, the mine was a vast subterranean metropolis, its roadways wide enough for heavy machinery to extract tons of limestone. The mine was abandoned in the early 2000s, leaving behind rusting equipment, derelict stoneworks, and cavernous pits that silently echo the labour of generations past. Pools of rainwater collect in deep passageways, taken on an azure hue that in any other setting would have appeared magical. Our hearts were pumping as we ventured through its deep limestone passageways. It was hard to grasp the scale. Days could easily be spent exploring its endless chambers, each one a reminder of the epic industry that once thrummed here. Number 2. The Crescent Cinema, Pontefract. The Crescent Cinema opened in 1926, its striking neoclassical facade dominating the small town of Pontefract. At its peak, it could seat around 1,190 people in a 2-tier auditorium complete with a fully equipped stage, dressing rooms, cafe, and substantial dance hall. Finally, in 1993, it closed, sealing away its screen projectors and ticket booths. When we explored the musty auditorium, hints of popcorn lingered, as if the building itself could still remember. In the backstage areas, we were taken aback by the level of pristine preservation. The projector remained just as it had been left. In a nearby room, we discovered lenses and brass fittings that gleamed in the dim light. The further we looked, the more that we uncovered. A true time capsule of early 20th century cinema. And finally, number 1, RAF NETISHEAD, Suffolk. Established in 1941, RAF NETISHEAD was a key part of Britain's air defence network. The complex of Cold War radars, bunkers and arrays played a key role in the monitoring and protecting of UK airspace. One of the rooms had been sealed up at the end of the Cold War, dials frozen, switches untouched, even the original leather-backed logbooks lying there. Then as we wandered down the dark corridors, the faint hum of long-dead machinery echoed. In the lower levels, we looked up at the giant blast doors designed to withstand a nuclear attack. Everything was vast, the sheer scale amplifying the silence around us. It was like stepping back in time to an era when the world was balanced on a knife edge. The threat from above was constant, unseen, and ever present. But we were also hit with a sense of sadness as we wandered along the decaying corridors, that this formidable relic of a tense era to which we owe our very survival was now forgotten by the very world it once protected. So there we are, my top 15 explores. Links to the full videos can be found in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. Subscribers to the channel will have access to exclusive content, and you might even have your own Can You feature on a future video. But that's all for now. Catch you on the next video.